third grade. How are you? I am talking to you today about Divine Mercy Sunday. I had looked online to find a video on this topic, but didn't really find anything I liked, so I thought I'd explain it to you real quick. So Divine Mercy Sunday is a feast day that's coming up in our church this Sunday. And we've talked about the liturgical year and feast days. So this one is coming up this Sunday, but let me tell you about the story behind it. It's really interesting. So I drew a timeline on the board, and you know what a timeline is. It's just like a line, only it marks dates instead of numbers. So for example, if this is this year, 2020, and you were born probably somewhere around here, 2012, okay? But this story about Divine Mercy Sunday actually starts way back here in the 1930s, okay? And what happened back in the 1930s was Jesus started to appear to a Polish nun, and he told her that he wanted not a new devotion, but he wanted kind of a renewed devotion to his divine mercy. And we talked about mercy before at the beginning of the year. Mercy is God's love and forgiveness for us, even when we don't deserve it. And Jesus wanted us to come to him for that love and forgiveness, that divine mercy. So that's what he started telling this Polish nun. And her name was Maria Faustina Kowalska, okay, back in the 1930s. One of the things Jesus told her was he wanted an image painted of his divine mercy. And this is what he wanted it to look like. He appeared to Maria Faustina looking like this. He was dressed all in white. He had his hand raised like he was giving a blessing. And from his heart came rays, red rays and white rays. And he told Faustina that when she has this image painted, he wants Jesus, I trust in you at the bottom, so that we always come and trust him and his mercy for us. He also told Maria Faustina that he wanted some prayers to be said to his divine mercy. They're called the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and we'll talk about those prayers a little bit later. And the third thing he asked her to do was he wanted the Sunday after Easter to be named as Divine Mercy Sunday. So all of that happened in the 1930s. And Sister Maria Faustina started to spread the word that Jesus wanted this renewed devotion to his divine mercy. When she started doing that, her spiritual director told Sister Maria Faustina to write all these meetings with Jesus down in a diary, which she did. And then in the 1938, Sister Maria died, and she was only 33 years old. But this devotion to Jesus' divine mercy spread until about 1959. And in 1959, there was a translation of Sister Maria Faustina's diary. Remember, she was a Polish nun, so she wrote it in Polish. As they translated it either into French or Italian, the translation wasn't real good. And so Pope John the 23rd was concerned that there may not be truths about Jesus in that diary. So he put a ban on the devotion. He didn't let people spread the devotion to Jesus' divine mercy for a while. Then in the 1960s, there was a priest in Poland who had the Polish translation of Sister Faustina's diary. And he started reading about it. And he started reading about Jesus' divine mercy and this renewed devotion to it. Well, this priest soon became a bishop, and the bishop became a cardinal. And then in 1978, this cardinal became Pope John Paul the 22nd. You recognize this picture. All right, as Pope, Pope John Paul II really spread the message of Jesus' divine mercy. So much so that then in the year 2000, and remember, this is the change of millennium, right? Not just the change of year, not just the change of a decade or 10 years, not just the change of 100 years, but actually the change of 1,000 years. It's a new millennium. And in that new millennium, the first person that Pope John Paul II made into a saint that he canonized was Sister Maria Faustina. She became the first saint in the year 2000 in this new millennium. And when Pope John Paul II canonized her, he did so as the first saint in this new millennium because he said now, more than ever in this new millennium, we as people need God's divine mercy. We need God's love and we need God's forgiveness. So he made the year 2000 the year of mercy. And in that year, he canonized St. Faustina, and he made the Sunday after Easter Divine Mercy Sunday. So that was put in place by Pope John Paul II. Interestingly, 5 years later, Pope John Paul II died, and he died on the eve of Divine Mercy Sunday, which is kind of neat. And then as an interesting side note, these two popes, Pope John Paul II and Pope John the 23rd, were canonized, or they became saints on the same day. Kind of interesting, huh? All right, so your job today, one of your assignments today, is to make a Divine Mercy Chaplet. This is the prayer that Jesus taught St. Faustina, that he wanted to be prayed as a devotion to his divine mercy. And all the prayers are written on here. You use them on ordinary rosary beads. You start with an Our Father, a Hail Mary, the Apostles' Creed, and all those prayers are in your religion book. Then on the Our Father beads, you say this Eternal Father prayer. And on all 10 of the Hail Mary beads, you say this prayer: for the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. And you do that through all 5 of the decades of the rosary. You're going to cut this out and glue it together. Veronica had made this one, so it will look like this, okay? And then you'll have a Divine Mercy Chaplet. All right? And then maybe you can pray this with your parents or somebody on Sunday. And if you want, maybe your parents will let you make a Divine Mercy Sundae. Get it? See what I did there? It's a homophone. You can make an ice cream sundae. You can put the red and white rays coming out of it. All right, third grade, have a great weekend. Have a great Divine Mercy Sunday, and I'll see you soon.